through HTML and CSS, and we'll also have a conclusion.
Oh, wait. My mouse is missing. Okay.
Okay, so for introduction, she's India, I'm Andy. And before we begin, please check that you have all the prerequisites installed. So this includes Visual Studio Code and Live Server. And
I'll show you guys how to set up your stuff first. So just follow along if you haven't. And if you need any help, you can feel free to ask our sales. Give me a second.
Okay, so if you don't have either Visual Studio Code or Live Studio, you can just follow along first.
Okay, so basically what you're gonna do is, so first, right, let's say when you open a new window in VS Code, right, you see this. Then from this window, you can press open folder, which is where you'll be putting all of your stuff. So in this case, I'll create a folder like in my desktop. So I'll call it like, hold on, actually. I'll call it BBCS. Oh. I select that folder, and then once I have it open, right, you see this thing. Wait, I swear it's sharing.
Google Meet.
Yeah, I mean, it's sharing though. Does it? You can
to this screen.
Just mirror. Just like duplicate the whole way.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, like, okay, so when you first open up VS Code, you see this screen, okay? What you want to do is you press open folder, and then let's say you create a folder in your desktop. So in this case, I'll make a folder called BBCS. Then I'll select this folder. So now everything that I'm doing will be like, I'll be working on everything inside of this folder. So inside here, like you can see this button, this thing called new file. Press that and create your file that you need for today. So your file, you can name it whatever you want. In this case, because I'm going to live demo for you guys, so I will call it live demo.html. But you can call it whatever you want. Just make sure it ends with a .html. And also, once you're done with this, you can see this extensions icon here. You press this, search live server, and then press this, and then you can install it. And once you install live server, right, you'll see this small button here that says go live. This is how you will be hosting your current page. So like it will show up on any of your browsers. And then once you have that, basically whenever you edit this file, it will automatically change like the display on your browser. So yeah, don't forget to save your files and stuff. Yes. Anyone confused or anything? Need help? No? Okay.
If you need help with it, just raise your hand. Our sales will help you.
Oh, like me, please. Which step? Oh, okay. So when you open up VS Code, click it here. Can't click. Okay, so when you open up VS Code, right? You'll see this. So if you don't have a folder yet, just like when you press open folder, if you don't have a folder yet, create a new folder. So my folder is called BBCS, so I will be using this folder. So after you've created that folder, you select it, and then you will be working on it. You'll be working on your stuff from that folder. So what I did just now was press this button, which is new file, to create this live demo.html file. So like that and that. But like I'll name this new one like index.html, let's say. You can name your file whatever you want, as long as it ends with .html, because that is what we'll be using today. And also for live server setup, right? Go to your extensions. So this icon here, press that, search up live server, and then once you have that, you can just install it. And when you have it installed, there will be this go live button at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. And it will be what you use to host your like current site. Any questions? Okay, I guess not. Can wait a bit and we continue. I'll just mirror it from now on. Yeah, like I extend first, I close my stuff. And
Okay, so now we'll be moving on to like our introduction to web development. So basically, web development is the theme of this conference, and basically we will be building web apps and websites with programming languages such as HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and that's about it. So how do these languages work together? HTML provides like a rough backbone of the site, so you have your layout and everything done by HTML. And CSS adds colors and makes it like prettier. JavaScript can dynamically change the content on the site. So for example, if you press a button, it might change like the site or something. But in this workshop, we will not be covering JavaScript, only HTML and CSS. So basically, this is like a more visual representation of what the languages do. So HTML gives me this button that says mail. And CSS makes the button pink and the text white. And JavaScript makes the sound when you press the button. So the goal of this is to make a personal site for yourself. So let's start with HTML. Can anyone in this room guess what HTML stands for? You can just raise your hand to answer.
that's right. Good job.
Okay, so unfortunately, higher language is wrong. It's 3, which is hypertext markup language. And HTML is like the basic structure of any web page. And it's like the most common language that's used for web pages. So this is what like HTML document roughly looks like. So if we look closer at this, we will notice that there are certain things that are highlighted in blue. So can anyone guess what these are? Yes. Tags. Yes, they're tags. They are the fundamental building blocks of a HTML document.
Ha 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 ha, so funny.
So now that you've seen that, can anyone tell me what's a start tag and an end tag? Which one has a slash?
The end tag.
Yes, the end tag has a slash. So we can compare between them. The start tag, you can see that it has no forward slash, while the end tag always has a forward slash. And the content goes between the start and the end tags. So here it is again, we can see many pairs of start and end tags, such as HTML, which ends like at the bottom. We can see title and all the other tags. So the first line of this HTML document is very important because this is like a .html declaration, which basically what it does is that it tells your browser that this is a HTML file. And this is not a HTML tag. So you will notice that there's actually no end tag for this. So here's an example of HTML code. So other than our initial line declaration, we can see that everything else is wrapped within HTML start and end tags.
And make sure to put every single thing that you put like that you're gonna code out into both HTML tags, because if you put any of these tags outside of it, the web page will not register and then your content won't load. So just remember that everything else that comes after this goes inside of the two HTML tags.
Okay, so within the HTML tag, you can see that there's a head tag and a body tag. So the head tag, right, is basically you can think of it as a container for all the metadata on your site.
Yes.
And basically, it's like the data about your HTML document. So it's not actually the content of the HTML document, but it stores all the other necessary data about our HTML document.
Can you try speaking without the mic? Like just testing. So I can hear myself. Like you can use this to hear.
Okay, so within the head tag, we can. Okay, so within the head tag, we have a title tag. So the title tag is used to specify the title of the page. So in this case, the title tag will show up on our tab. So we can see that when we set the title tag to that, the tab, when you view it, it shows the exact text. Next up is the body. So other than the head, there's a body. And the body is what contains the actual elements in the HTML file. So everything else that isn't like metadata or like related to it will go into the body tag. So if we look within the body tag, we can see the elements on the web page. So this first one is a header tag. So we can see that it's a header tag because like it starts with a H. And there are a lot of header tags. The smaller the number behind the H, the larger the text is. Moving on, we have a paragraph tag. Basically, a paragraph tag is used for most of your body like content, and it automatically starts on a new line. It also adds some padding before and after the paragraph. This is a divider, and you can think of a divider as a container of elements. So you can put text directly inside the divider, but you can also put other text such as paragraph text within the divider. So now moving on to our live demo.
Okay, so going back to this code, right? You should have created a .html file. So I'd like you guys to at least follow along with this live demo. If like yeah. So what I'll start with is a doc type HTML. Okay, so I'll start with. Can I close this? I'll start with a doc type HTML because it's the declaration. Then after that, I'll have a HTML tag. So all of my content will go between these two tags. So if you like put, let's say your head outside of your HTML tag, it's not going to work. So please don't do that. Please put everything inside of your HTML tag. So I'll have my head tag, and inside of the head, obviously there's the title. So the title of my site is just gonna be called my site. Okay, and then below the head, there's the body. So inside of the body, right? Okay, to reiterate this, whatever content you have must go within the body, because if you put it outside of the body, again, it won't show up. So inside of the body, let's say I want to have a H1, so like header, I'll call it header. Then I'll have like a paragraph, which is okay, so like that. And then in order to view this, right, what I'll do is press this go live button here. So once I press it, it will start a thing for me on like, wait, give me a sec. I separate the tabs. So it will show me this in my browser. Okay. And let's say, oh, I want to make some changes. I'm going to add a div. I'm going to add a div. And then inside of that div, maybe I'm going to put like, oh my God, I'm going to put like this, a paragraph and maybe like another paragraph and like maybe like a H1 or something. So, okay, this is obviously like not what you're supposed to do, but like, yeah. So now you can see it will automatically update based on your HTML file. So this is like what it would look like right now if you're following along. Anything else? Okay, go on. Okay.
So as I mentioned previously, headings start from H1, and H1 is the biggest heading of all of them. And in this case, we use H1 all the way to H6. So H6 will be the smallest heading out of these 6. Can anyone guess if there's a H7?
Okay. Huh? Can be. Okay, never mind. Screw it.
Okay, so the answer is no, there isn't a H7.
Okay, I will demo this now. So basically, we already have a H1, right? So I'm going to put in the H2, H2, H3, H4. Yeah, I did. I think. Okay, so
You can just say again.
in my
You can just say again.
like the demo thing.
Yeah, I tell them to put it.
Wait, let me repeat this one more time. I'd like you guys to follow along the demo as well, because it's like gonna be good for your understanding if you do. Yeah. So for this, right, you see I have put in H1 all the way to H6 over here. But you can see in my code, I put down a H7. But what you can see here is that the H7 shows up in default text, which means that it doesn't exist. So yeah, this is what it looks like.
Okay, so moving on, the comments in HTML look a bit different from other languages if you learn any. This is how a comment in HTML looks like. So you will put content between the double dashes on each side. Okay, moving on, here are 3 tags. The first one, basically this inserts a break in your web page. The next one is IMG, which is, if you can guess, it's basically just inserting an image. So for image, you would provide a source, which is where like your code should find the image. You would provide a width and a height for the image. And you would also provide an L. Basically what the L does is that if your image doesn't load, it will put some text in place of it to tell the user that there's still an image there, except like it doesn't work. Lastly, we have the A, which is an anchor tag. And basically this can be used to like hyperlink things or make buttons like redirect to different websites.
Okay, so to demonstrate, let's say, okay, you can take a look at this again. So you see the space between, okay, notice the space between H1 and H2, okay? Now I'm going to add a break tag between the both of them. So what this does is breaks the both of them apart, and then there's a bigger space between them. So that's break. So onto image, right? Let's say I have this wait. I have this like image of a cat. So I'm gonna just put this like, oh, sorry. I'm gonna put this here. Wait. I'll paste like, okay, so for images, right? What you need to do is put them inside of the same folder that you're working in. So that like it's easier to like display it. Then what you'll do is in your source, just type the name of the image. So my image name is super long, but like you put whatever image name that you have inside of your folder here. So like this. And then your height, you can set it to like, let's say 100 pixels, and then what?
Okay, so if you look at the px, right, basically what it stands for is a pixel. So a pixel is just a unit of like display on a computer screen. So if we see that both the height and the width are set to 100 pixels, we know that we'll get a square, which is what it looks like. And if we increase it to 500 times 1,000, we can see that it'll be a bit more stretched out.
And then let's say there's an error in your link. So like, oh, I mistyped. This is the alt text. This is what it would look like. Also, if you want to find images online instead of like downloading your own, right? You can just go and like say we want an image of a cat. So we go here, we open this image, and then you press copy image address. And then in your SRC, change this to the image source. I think it should be right. And then yeah, there we go. Then you have your image. Okay. And then for anchor tag, right? What you wanna do is then href. Href is the link that you want to reference. So let's say I want to play like this thing, this video. Okay. So what I'll do is I put this video link inside of href, and in between the A tags, right? Between the start and the end tags, I will put like, let's say like the video name. So I forgot, but like I'm just gonna put this. So you can see the link will show up on your page like this. So what and then when you click on this link, right, it will bring you to that video. Yeah. Okay. So that's how you do anchor tags and image and break. Yeah.
So you might have noticed that some of our tags didn't actually have end tags, such as the break and the image. And that's because they are called void elements. So basically you wouldn't like expect an image to be appended to like some text. So it doesn't make sense to have an end tag. So therefore like the image is a void element. So they don't contain any content. So now moving on to tables. So the table start and end tags are literally just called tables. And within table, we can see that there are TRs, which stand for table rows. So we have multiple rows in the table. So we have two sets of TRs here, which means we have two rows in the table. Within each row, we have a table. Okay, sorry. For the first row in the table, right, it's like the header of the table. So what we have is a TH, which is the table header. So what happens here is we can set like a row span and column span, which is basically like how wide it is. And we can put the text inside as well. For subsequent rows of the table, we have TDs, which is table data. And we can also put like text here.
Okay.
Okay, so now we'll be demoing how to code a table. Try to follow along if you can. So within the table, we have multiple rows. So we can start by coding one row first. So within the row, we have multiple columns. So since it's the first row, we'll be using like table headers. So we have two table headers here, which means our table will have two columns. And then after that, yeah, so you can see the two table headers here. And after that, in the next row, we can add table data. So the number of table data should be corresponding to the number of table headers so that it matches. So in this case, you can see two table headers and two table data. So we can also specify the call span, which is like how wide it should be. And we can also specify the row span, which is like how wide it is like vertically.
Anything else?
Okay, so moving on, these are buttons. So the start and end tag of a button just says button, and you can specify different types. So there are multiple like formats for the button. So one of them is just called button. So this is the one that we'll be using. There are also other types. So in this case, our button contains the text of clicking. But when you actually click this button, it does nothing for now. If we want to do something, we can add an anchor tag outside the button. So everything, like button start and end text go within the anchor start and end text. So basically what this will do is when you click your button, it would automatically refer to what you linked in the anchor tag. So if you want another page on your document, you can link your page there. So when you click the button, it will just redirect the user to the page. So now for the live demo, we'll start by adding an anchor tag first and creating a button within it. So the anchor tag should have a reference of what you want to link the user to. And we will specify the button type button, which is like the standard one. And the button will basically say click me with an exclamation mark.
It does nothing.
So if you actually click this button right now, you'll notice that it does like absolutely nothing because we didn't like link anything in the anchor tag.
Now we can the page.
So now we'll make another page, which is a new form. So again, we need the specifier .html, and we'll put everything within the HTML text. So we also have a head and a body within the page. So what we want to do now is we can link our button to the new page. So if we click the button now, we can see that it directs us towards the new page.
Wait, you can. I code a home button, like a go back one.
So let's say, right, we want the user to be able to go back. So what we can do is we can add a similar button on the new page. But in this case, this button links you back to live demo. So we can see that it returns to the original page. So if we click this button, it'll go there. And if we click the button that says return, it will return us to the original page.
Try like better bit. No, it shows the video.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, thank you. Sorry, so other than like linking our HTML pages to each other, we can also link like other pages. For example, this YouTube video. So on the live demo page, instead of specifying new page or HTML, we can also specify a website link. So if we click it now, okay, moving on. There's this thing called iframes, which basically you can think of it as like another page embedded within your current page. So for most usages, iframes are used to add videos and audios to your page. But you can also put an entire new HTML site within your iframe. So let's say, right, you want to embed a YouTube or Spotify embed in like your site. So what you can do is you can go to the YouTube site. And let's say I want to embed this video here. So you can click share. So you can click share, and we can see that there's this sharing option called embed. So we will click this option. It will show us some code, and we'll see that there's actually a copy button here. So we'll click this copy button, and we can paste all of this code directly within our website. So let's say I want to embed this song. Don't worry, we'll show this later. Let's say I want to embed this song. What we can do is we can right click this song in like the Spotify. And we from share, we see that there's an option that says embed track. And we can click embed track. You can also adjust some of the settings here, but for simplicity, we won't. And you can just press copy. And similarly, it will also provide you with the code, and you can paste this directly within the web page. So for directly embedding videos, so for example, if you're not using YouTube and you want to embed like your own video, what you can do is you have video start and text. And what happens is basically within the video start and text, you have a source. And within the source, you will do what you did with the anchor tag. So you will also specify the link. You have multiple options for the video, which includes the width and the height. And we can also see there are 4 more options after it, which is controls, autoplay, muted, and loop. So what controls does is it shows the controls on the page so that the user can like actually pause or rewind the video. Autoplay automatically starts playing the video when you enter the site. Muted mutes the video, and loop repeats it when the video ends. So we can also see that there's this tag here that says your browser does not support the video tag. This will be shown to the user if the video doesn't load. So this is what is known as a fallback. So if the video doesn't load on the site, what happens is that the user will just see this error message. So if we look at this, the source is also a void tag. So for audio, it's done similarly. And we can see that the only difference is that you don't specify a width and a height for the audio. And when you specify the type, it says audio/MP3 instead of video/MP2. So now we'll be demoing embedding the YouTube and Spotify. So let's say I want a video. So let's say I want this.
Wait. Stop. I keep making this mistake.
So we'll click share and embed. Then we can see all the code here. There are some buttons that allow us to change it, but for now we won't touch it. So you can click the button called copy, and we can just paste it. One thing you have to ensure is that this code goes within the body, because if it does not go within the body start and end text, it will not show on your website. So YouTube does like a lot of the embedding stuff for us. In this case, the video is unavailable, but we can see that the video is displayed directly on the site instead of the button, and because the button like redirects us to the video.
Let me try. Oh, okay. Working. Okay, in this case, my videos are not working, so like, yeah, but it's supposed to show up. Anyway, I'll show you how to embed the songs now. So as you can see here, like I want to embed this song while true. Then I'll right click it, press share, and then embed track. So this will show up. And then after that, you'll see this preview. Can like play around the settings if you want, but I won't. Then press copy. And then once you have that, you can put this here. You can paste it inside of your body. Again, must be between both your body tags or else it won't show up on your page. So once you have that, you see that the song will show up. And when I press, I'm sorry, but like when you press it, it will play. Okay, yeah. And then now for video and audio. So for video, right? Let's say this.
So if we want like to embed a video ourselves, all we can do is we use the video start and end text, and within the video tag, right? Okay, within the source text, we can specify the source. So for example, we can just copy the YouTube link directly. So this is another way that you can use to embed YouTube videos. And then within the video tag, we can specify like the height and width. So again, we see px, which stands for pixel. So this is like the unit of measurement for screen. So we can see that it will be a 5:4 ratio. So we want to give the user controls, and we also want the video to autoplay. And for the source tag, we can specify the type of the video.
Oh.
So you can see that there's a video there.
I try using this video. Right? Wait, why isn't my embeds working? Wait,
So we can just switch the link out for another video if we wish.
Oh. Doesn't seem to be working. Never mind. God damn, bro. It's so tough. It's not working. Whatever. Okay, audio time.
Okay, so other than video, you can also embed audio the same exact way. So for audio, you usually want to give them controls. If not, there won't be anything there. So usually for audio, it will be controls, and you can set an autoplay if you want. So you will embed the source of the audio the exact same way by specifying of SRC. So make sure that your audio file is in the same folder as your HTML file. If not, your HTML code cannot find the audio. So in this, you put auto play, so it keeps repeating in the background. So we also specify the type on the audio button on the website. It will play the audio.
Can you show them the menace thing? Like being a menace and not.
If you want to be really mean, you can also do this thing called autoplay and loop. And what like it's a personal site, yeah. Because if you don't show the controls, then they can't pause it.
Is it right?
Yes. Okay, so now we have a hands-on segment. So you can try coding the site, or rather the skeleton of it, because you only have the HTML knowledge for now. So if you don't have any site ideas, you can try making a portfolio site and about me site. So maybe you can introduce yourself, your hobbies and stuff. You can make a joke website, or you can make an actual like functional site if you have any ideas for it.
If you want to implement that horrendous audio, please go ahead. I look forward to seeing it. Forgive me. Also, right now during this hands-on segment, if you guys need any assistance, please like raise your hand or something, and then we will come to assist you.
Item officer.
Yeah.
You think of what? You can take photo of it.
I'll let my let's buy now.
Try lah. You take one side also can. You take one day video. Let me meet.
What is the view in the files?
I can put the file in the side.
The face in the one sheet, you take the photo.
I can put the fries in the rubbish bin.
What? I mean, the version can be a pie. You can put your summarizes of it.
Sure. Sounds like quite different.
I'll see it. I'll be the mission. And you will see how your teachings are being used.
Oh my days, is that TD?
Yes.
As we mentioned,
I actually was following.
This is another weakness. They know his channels. Or maybe the online ones. 约翰的逸轩
I never asked you how come. You should ask your how come business.
we learned before already.
You can answer our questions.
This keyword is
Once again, if you need help, feel free to just raise your hand. We'll come over if you have.
There's kind of like that. You can just extend.
Just extend the last one. I forgot to take a picture of Playback.
All right. So Playback will laptop. Oh. You should put the fire for your mouth. Then like real big bag, you know. Cannot see. This is a shape. See here.
I'm under their dollars. Add a YouTube video. Let me just read it because
I tried.
Yep, my chair. Huh?
Sorry.
My chair.
Okay, so now you should be done with most of your site-like structure. We will have more time later for you to work on your entire site if you want. So now we're done with HTML, so we'll move on to the CSS. So there are three main ways to link CSS to HTML. It's called inline CSS, using a style block, or using a CSS file. For the purposes of this, we will be using a CSS file because when you write inline CSS or use a style block, it goes within your HTML file, which can make things a bit more messy. So this is what the code looks like to link a CSS file to your HTML. So if we look at this, right, we can see that it goes within the head. And this is because the CSS file is not like part of the content of the website. So it goes into the head tag. So now we'll demo this. You can see that under the title tag, actually can be over also, but it must be within the head tag. We will specify link brown style sheet, which basically tells our code that this is like the CSS file. And in this case, we're going to reference the file style.css. So the code in the reference also needs to match the file name. So when we specify style.css here, our file name also needs to be style.css. So you can put this in the other page as well. So now we click into the CSS file and we can write our CSS code here. Okay. So this is how it looks like. Make sure that you put it within the head tag and not the body tag. Okay, so this is what a website with only HTML would look like. And it looks kind of sad. So this is what you can do if your site has CSS. So this looks like so much better. You may be wondering.
How do I be as cool as you?
So let's introduce the basics first. So this is the same code that we see just now. And how would I make it colorful? So we can use this thing called coloring elements. So this is within your CSS file. I repeat, this is within your CSS file. So in this case, our CSS file is called style.css. So we can see that the format looks like this. We can first see that there's a P, which basically is a selector. So what this does is that if you put anything in between the curly brackets of the P, what will happen is that everything inside will apply to the P only. So like the setting color still blue would apply to the paragraph only. So outside of P, we can also specify different colors for body and our header text. So within each selector, we have the rules. So these rules decide the characteristics of each element. So for example, under the paragraph, we can specify that we want the paragraph color to be still blue, and we want the background color to be basic. And under the body, we can specify that the background color will be plug, and so on. So this is what it looks like after you add CSS. So what if, right, instead of just a background color, I want to set a background image? So what we can do is, under the body selector, so again, this is in the CSS file. Under the body selector, we can specify background image. And in this case, we have an image loaded. So we'll use URL and say car.jpeg. So the first thing we'll notice when we do this, for most images, it won't directly fit the dimensions of the web page. So we'll notice that this image repeats itself and we see like two cats on the screen. So what we can do is we can add these three lines. So the first line, it sets background repeat to no repeat. So basically this stops the image from repeating. The second setting, which is background size, we can set it to cover to make sure that it spans the entire web page. So it won't leave any part of the web page blank. The third setting, which is background position, in this case, we will specify center. This just ensures that the image is on the center of the page. So now it looks like this. But there's a problem now. If we look at the text on the top left, we can't really read it anymore. So what we can do, on top of the 4 lines that we already have, what we can do is we can add a white background, basically a semi-transparent layer, to make sure that our text is still visible above the image. So you can do this by setting the background color. So within background color, we'll be using this thing called RGBA. Basically, it's like a color scheme format. So the first 3 numbers inside RGBA, separated by a comma, is the color code. So for white, we have the color code will be 255, 255, and 255. The last number in the RGBA code is the transparency of it. So if I set this transparency to 1, it will be fully white and it will like just block out our cat image. If we set it to 0, it won't show at all. So we'll set it to somewhere in between, which is 0.5. So in this case, it's still there, but it's not dark enough to cover our cat. And the last one, background blend mode. Basically, it controls how much the background layers like blend in with each other. So in this case, we'll choose lighten. So now we can see that there's this very light white background on the cat picture. which makes our text more visible. So remember this. Maybe you notice that our background isn't just one solid color, and we can actually have a gradient as our background as well. So there are a few steps to this. Firstly, we go back to the CSS file, and we have to go into body because we want the gradient to be applied to the entire page. So we will set a background image. But in this case, instead of specifying a URL for the image, we'll be using this thing called a linear gradient. So in this case, we want it to be rotated 180 degrees. So it will be pointing down. And then we can specify a start and an end color. So if we like this, it will start from purple and end at aquamarine. So this is what it looks like on the page. We'll notice that what happens here is that this thing repeats itself, which is not very good. This is a 360-degree one. It's basically like rotated another 180 from our original ones. So what if we don't want it to repeat at all? We want one continuous gradient across the entire page. What we can do is we add another property to body, which is to set the height of the background layer. So in this case, instead of using pixels, we'll be using viewport height, which is abbreviated to VH. So 100 VH just means we want this thing to be 100% of our viewport height. So the reason we want to use pixels, the reason we want to use viewport height instead of pixels here is because everyone's screen is like different dimensions. So 100 VH make sure that it covers the entire page for any user.
Or you could just set your gradient sideways and it won't repeat. But why doesn't it repeat, you may be wondering? It's because when you have a horizontal gradient, it's long enough to cover your entire web page. So essentially, it will just take up the entire space and you don't have to use anything to change the height of it. But for a vertical gradient, it's not tall enough to fill the entire page. So it will keep repeating until it fills the page. Therefore, you need the 100 VH in order for it to cover the entire page.
Okay, so if we look back at this, we now know how to make a background gradient. But actually, gradients can be applied to text. So if we look at the heading there, we can see that the heading also has a gradient as its color scheme. So this time, instead of using the body sector, we'll be using the heading sector, which in this case is a H1. So we can set it the same way by using a background image and a linear gradient. And we have a start and an end color, which is really good. We can also specify a color transparent, which like makes our text transparent. And we can use background clip to basically clip the background gradient directly into the text, so that now our text can display the gradient that we want. So it would look like this without the other CSS. So now we have a hands-on segment. You can start like coloring the elements that you have on your page. If you don't have any ideas, you can color a paragraph of text. You can add a gradient to your header, or you can set a background image or gradient on your site.
And if you're really a menace, right, you can leave the gradient repeating and flag bang your friends.
Okay, so you have like 10 minutes.
Wait, let me see if we can don't skip a second part.
And those keep everything.
Yeah, we can go and unskip it.
Oh yeah.
Can you unskip it or like replace it? Is wait, did I unskip it? Wait, can you scroll? Is above? Is the font there?
Yeah, it's a pair of phone calls.
No, thank you. Oh, sleep.
If only.
And if you guys need assistance, please feel free to raise your hands and we'll be coming around to help you out. What?
Need help?
We don't have bus space, but
Should hire someone to design that. I'm looking here. Why is Sydney there? Why is Sydney there?
it's helping the public.
I'm just listening to the Sydney teacher.
You can help them.
I don't know what she asked me.
What?
No one asked me a question.
If anyone raises their hand, then you just go ahead.
Only I know is some people asking me why is the CSS not working?
Oh, yeah, it's also.
Just check the Discord what's going on there. Yeah.
Nothing's called.
This is already stores is going. Not that one. It's the design stuff. It's the design thing.
I think I left my tag here. I don't know where I left my tag.
Tag?
Yeah.
How do you miss the tag?
I don't know where I left my tag. I forgot.
I doubt it's here. I haven't
Let me
seen
check
it.
the.
They're doing a lot better than first.
Sorry?
They're doing a lot better than
Then the first one.
Actually, no way.
They're doing a lot better than like
They're doing
like mouse better.
they're doing better in
Really? Oh.
Oh, did the guy use slides?
How
You're
many-
saying something.
How many arrows does the guy have? Arrows. GitHub.
Yeah, what happened to Kid?
Yeah. How many
I
like,
remember the guy was saying like his slides are just for show or something. I
he
wasn't
has
sure.
700 like
Yes,
conflicts.
yes, code. Then most of them get it.
Adaptive. Game GitHub. Sorry.
Find level one. I don't know if I can use it. So far. You're showing what is active with what is called S.
Oh yeah. I was so shocked. Like when I was there, when I was on there, there were 3 books on page. There's something. You know, I would prefer the role, but I got told that. You see the
Why?
This is correct.
So, what is it?
Do they need more time? Do I
Then what it is? Oh yes. The 100 volume.
Okay, I'm gone. You good?
Okay, so now that we've managed to change the color for some stuff, what if we want to change the font as well? Because the default font is kind of sad. Like if we look at this, like it's not necessarily ugly, but it's kind of boring. So what we can do is we can use custom fonts. So there are two ways to use our own fonts. One is font families, and the other one is Google fonts. So Google fonts will provide you with a wider array of fonts. So let's say you have this enough here. And if we look at it directly, this would be what it looks like on the side. And in order to change the font, we go to our CSS file. So we need to select the paragraph first. And under the paragraph selector, we can specify that we want the font family to be Papyrus. So if we now look back at the page, we can see that the font was changed. So there's actually something wrong with this, which is that font families, right, they should have fallback options, which basically means that If your first font is not available, the browser will go to a second font, then to a third font, and so on. So this is what it looks like to have like fallback fonts. So we have Copperplate as our first fallback font, and we have Fantasy as our last fallback font. So we always start with the fonts that we want, and we want to end the font on a generic family. And generic families are generally available to like all the browsers. So the generic font families are serif, sans serif, monospace, cursive, and fantasy. So for all the fonts that you declare, you will want to end with one of these to make sure that you always have a font to use. You can find out more about like fonts online. And the second method will be Google Fonts. So instead of using the CSS file, we would put Google Fonts in the head tag. So let's say we want that font. What we can do is we can go to fonts.google.com. So you can search for a lot of fonts on there. And in this case, we want the font. So we'll be looking for this font called Press.2p. So if we search for Press.2p on Google Fonts, we can see that there's that blue button there that says Get Font. So we will press Get Font and press Get Exact Code. So it has some simple instructions here. So we will copy the top one and put it in the head of the HTML. And we will copy the bottom one and put it within our CSS. So the top one, once again, goes into the head tag because this is not part of the content. So it goes into the head tag of our HTML document. And in our CSS file, the second copy would give us the stuff to put in our CSS file, and it looks like this. So now that we've successfully taken the font from Google Fonts, how will we make our paragraph look like this? What we can do is, going back to the original paragraph, we would add a class called Press.2p regular directly. And this name must match what we have in our CSS file. So they must look the same for this paragraph to have the font that we want. So now if we go back to the same text, it will look like this, and we have gotten our font for this paragraph. So what if we don't actually want our text on the left? What we can do is, there are 4 ways to align text. So left, right, center, or justified. Note that center is spelled the American way. I keep making this mistake. Center is spelled the American way, or it will not work. So let's say we want to align our H1 and our paragraph text. So to select both of them, we put a comma in between. So we will see H1, comma P, and open curly brace. So in between the curly braces, we have what we want to align the text as. So in this case, we set text align to center the elements. So now if we look back at our text, we can see that all of it is centered on the page. So here are the 4 ways to align your text again, which is left, right, center, and justify. So some other modifiers that you can mess around with for font, you can also find even more online, is font style. So for example, you can set the font to bold or italics, and also font size, which is basically how big your text is. You add these into your CSS block as well. So
Oh shit, it's still stuck.
it did not skip. It did skip. Sorry.
That's so tough.
That's better.
Okay.
So now we have a hands-on thing. So basically, we already have our structure and we already have our colors for the elements. So maybe you can consider try changing our font or aligning the text. So if you don't have any ideas, you can try justifying your paragraph, centering your headers, centering your paragraphs, align some paragraphs if you're feeling like a menace today, or set a custom font for your paragraphs. So we'll give you 5 minutes for this.
And if you've got any queries, again, don't be afraid to ask our facilities and workshop speakers. Just raise your hand, we'll come to you.
I think I said that too much.
later, like
It's just like feminism or some shit.
women.
Yeah, but I don't want to follow.
Are you think they're not fair? Are you
No,
think
I'm saying
they're not fair?
why?
Because it ends at 7 p.m.
No, I thought 7 is for the Hawks.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
No, it's 7 p.m.
Yeah, I think one of the days I can. My mom booked she booked like last Sunday.
Then what?
So need to spend more time with her. Later she said
She booked on to
she fell. She fell backwards. Then she went over. I don't know, I didn't really have that. Yeah.
Yeah, Shellback was at least a sort of because it was falling like us.
That's fair. Got no back.
She's in hospital or
No, she's at home. She was going to like sleep over for like less than a day.
it's good.
Yeah,
It's got fracture. Whatever.
got affected. She got
GQ. Oh, sure, because you can like go everything not here.
Yeah, I
okay.
know.
And the drawing is over here.
They put a cat out. They put a cat out.
Okay. It's
Wow.
anything.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, please. Oh yeah, you like this video? Thank you.
This is like change.
Wow. You can go.
Thank you.
Pure is 11.1. Okay.
What is it?
Girls.
Oh, I read. Oh, that's my junior. What the?
Why do you have literal so many?
What is that? It's just
So I see applications, but I don't see as but there is again.
Interesting. Shit, I don't recognize any of them though. I like see them like once. I've only seen them like once for CCA session.
There's a pen like
and
right. I don't know where the sheet went. You see the
we got 50 seconds to find out.
Yo. Oh, Mike can pick it up. Yeah. You know when you talk, the mic can pick it up, right?
So you're not going like fries. They just seem no good. Oh yeah.
If you want, you can take my prize. All that. Okay. My turn. I just put this. Let's put it in my pocket. I
Yes.
guess. Okay.
So we're moving on now. So maybe I want a different element with the same color, or I want the same element of different colors. So how do I do that? With classes and IDs. So classes are used to specify a class or an element, and multiple HTML elements can share the same class. So let's say I have these two cats, these two images. I group them both under the class 3. So what this does is this makes them both groups. Like that. And then use an analogy if you guys understand this better. Think of putting something in a group. Like for example, cat breeds. So let's say like calicos. All cats that are calicos have patterns like these. So similarly, green is the class that will make all the components that are under it green. So all the components will conform to the characteristics of this class. So back to this. How would I make them green? So we have our blank paragraphs, and then here they are green. So how do we make them green? So like this, basically. So this is how you will select a class. So you dot green. Green is my class name that I assigned in the previous slide. So I'll put dot green inside of my CSS file in order to select this class. And the color green will change the text color into green. But of course, this isn't the thing that makes dot green itself on its own without the rule does not actually make your text green if you weren't paying attention at the start. It's the color green that makes your text green. Dot green is just a class that contains this rule so that you can assign this characteristic to multiple other like elements. So remember the font from just now that I set my paragraph as? It looks familiar, right? You can take a look at your CSS file if you pasted a custom font inside. You'll see the same dot and class name. That's the font class. And by assigning this class to an element, you can also change its font. But what if I want the text to be both green and press stop sequence? Well, what you do is basically select both classes. And how you do that is put both class names inside of the class, this the green text, and then space them out with a space. And this is how you select both classes at once. So that's what it looks like. And IDs is a similar premise to classes, except that it's a unique identifier. So it makes each tag unique, and for each ID must be unique. However, this is more so used for JavaScript. So we won't be covering much about it. But if you want to add an ID, here's how. So this is how you add an ID to your tag in CSS. And this is how you will call it in CSS. So it differs from a class. Instead of using dot, you will use the hashtag and put your ID name. So I'll give you guys a while to like hands-on add classes and stuff. And if you don't have any ideas, you can like set your font class, make your headers and paragraphs different fonts, or make multiple paragraphs the same font or the same color. And if you need any assistance, please feel free to call on the sales and workshop speakers anytime during this time.
He's falling chicken.
Why?
That's all like that was chicken dish.
That's like a story. I'm not guessing.
You don't have shutter sound. You don't have shutter sound. You have nail polish.
Yeah, I have. I feel
What color? Nothing so.
it's also the new police by no, this one is the new police.
That much.
Yeah, 65 office for one. Like two and one and a half weeks.
It is still insane.
Also, I can't manage it. So
Oh, you never like a proper and talk to us properly, right? Hey, you shower.
I did too agree. But like when
Some
I
of
feel
the
yeah.
I mean, this color is not super. So you won't get
So back to the it's cool. What's going
cool
on?
school you are. High school you are.
Wait, what's this?
This one is mine. No, I didn't know. I can't drink anything cold.
Shit, I left my open another. God damn it. I left my open on the JavaScript.
Okay. You have 20 seconds to run that. She's getting her order. She got a matcha.
Oh yeah.
Which was yes. Well, I ran to the toilet and I used it again. She's not perfect.
Oh, I saw a model for the
Sorry?
I saw a model for
It's a piece.
yeah,
Order.
Okay, so what if two or more rules point to one element? Let's say like you have a class and you have a, like you selected a class and you selected a paragraph. Like these are two. What if two of them point to one? What if both of them point to two? So this is where the priority of declarations in CSS comes in. So CSS specificity determines what style declaration is automatically applied to each element. If two or more CSS rules point to the same element, the more specific one wins and is applied. So let's say I have this HTML code. Which one will be applied? Can anyone answer me?
We'll give you a C if you get it correct.
Oh yeah, well, we have a
Choice of
three
C.
suites.
You get a choice, you get a choice
Yeah.
if you get it correct.
You get a suite if you get it right. Oh yes, you. Yes, correct. Yeah, so you're right. This will be applied because it's more specific. So basically, if there are two or more selectors with conflicting declarations, so like my paragraph tag with the class tree, the more specific one will win. So essentially, IDs, then classes, then elements. So remember the tables from just now? There's some example code for a table, some tables that I coded out, but like, of course, yours might look or is different from mine, so don't have to worry about it. Just, yeah. So, like, you see my tables, where are the borders? They look so bare, right? Well, this is where CSS comes in. So, I can just do this, and my table has borders, right? Well, kind of. If you want to get rid of these pesky gaps, you can. But if you don't want to, it's perfectly fine to just leave it. If you want to get rid of them, you can use border collapse. And with the help of border collapse, I finally have a nice table. Yeah, but as you can see, the image of the bottom tab and its text is kind of too close to my table border, right? So how would I space it out? And is it only tables that can have borders? Well, this is where margin, border, and padding come in. So to answer that question, no, it's not just tables that can have borders. So you can take a look at this. This is a header, a paragraph, and a division respectively. And there they are bordered. So you can border them too, the same way that you will border a table, which is border 1 pixel black solid, like that. So you may notice that, well, my borders are rounded. And why is that the case? To round your borders, you can add a border radius. And now you have rounded borders. And depending on how round you want your borders, you can obviously adjust the number in there. So the bigger it is, the rounder your borders are. If you're really a man, just set it like 1,000 or something. Yeah. So what if I just want a little more space, you know? You see this thing, like this rolls down first. So there's margin, there's content, border, and head. So to explain it from the innermost part to the outermost part, the content is where the text and images are inside. The padding is the area around the content. It could be blank, could not, but no, it's blank. And the border is the thing that goes around the padding and the content. And the one on the most outermost is the margin, which is the area outside of the border. So for both padding and margin, you have left, right, top, and bottom. So let's see this page again, right? Say I wanted some padding at the top and the bottom of each like text, like here, paragraph, and division. So this is the original code with no padding. And now I added some padding. So I added 50 pixels of padding on the top and 50 pixels of padding on the bottom. So now you'll see that there's a lot more space between the padding and a lot more space between the content and the border. Yeah. But now my thing is kind of too close to the side. As you can see on the left and the right of my screen, there isn't much space. So we'll work with the left and the right margins. So this is the code from just now without margin. And now new and improved with margin. So I added left and right margins, both of 50 pixels. And now you can see that it's a lot more spaced out from the side. Also, if you want to like center things like your tables and this kind of thing, you can set margin left and margin right as both as auto, and they will center your elements for you. And of course, these are applicable for tables too. So now, I'll give you some time to like maybe create tables and like adjust their heading and stuff for your site. So if you don't have ideas, you just probably add a table, like a table by yourself, maybe put some images there, descriptions, or you can just be a menace and like do whatever you want with your table, maybe it look terrible. Yeah. So have fun. And raise your hands if you need any assistance at any point in time during this hands-on period. All of us are still kids.
I'm on board.
Gunner. Gunner.
Cooler this, cooler that.
Gunner 6-7.
As a wise person don't say, we all speak red, we all come white.
It's not what.
That's not my problem.
Okay. So you may be wondering, how can I spice up my site even more? Well, with a custom cursor, you too can spice up your site. So, oh, look at this cursor. It's so sad and boring, right? Well, you want something like this? Well, now you can. With this code right here, you too can have a custom cursor for the price of free. So what you do is like cursor, and then you set the image that you want as your cursor. So in URL, you put the image that you have as your cursor. So wait, and also you need to include auto because it's similar to fonts. It's like a fallback. So in case your image doesn't load, the default cursor will still show. And your image has to be smaller than 128 pixels because if not, then the if not, then it won't load. And I recommend setting it maybe a bit smaller than that because like the hitbox will be pretty straight and the clicking will be a bit hard if you set it a little too big. So see these two images. So with these two images, my cursor changes on top. But why is it the case? This is because I set two different cursors for both my elements. So for H1, paragraph, and div, I set my cursor as this image. But for my body, I set a different image for the cursor. So by assigning different cursors to different elements, you can get this hover effect. So now I'll give you some time to set a custom cursor for your site. And like, if you don't have any ideas, maybe change your cursor to something you like. Like, for example, mine with tag, you can set that. And you can try and implement that hover effect for different elements.
You know when
I know what.
And you can just like give them like 30 minutes of focus like for the last animation. Or I can try this little animation because I need to keep it.
yeah, well, I'm just telling you what.
1 hour to finish my content. First,
It's all good.
Sweet. Oh, also like what did I say?
If you need to resize the image, just go and find like an image resizer online and resize it. If like you're having problems, instead of like manually.
Also just ask us. Also just ask us.
So I be looking. I think we tend to get how that work. There's the guy photo more. Yeah.
Use my side keys now. This actually is a good thing. Okay, sounds
Check how's it going?
Why are you here? Get off the chair.
Yeah.
You
All the skills.
oh my.
Sorry, yes.
Jesus Christ. My bag's not full.
I got Jingle Bell, bro.
I left my stuff in the
Jingle Bell.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, everyone. You can stop extending the time. I would like explain my key.
You were what? Sorry.
Yeah. Setting some stuff. Hello. Not yet. Okay. Oh shit. Okay, never mind. Doesn't matter. Like 1 minute. 1 minute is probably past already. Okay. Let me pick things.
Okay. So other than that, what else can I do? You can have this very cool hover effect for your text. So run this fun little effect. Like you see, hovering over it, the text you just hovered. Yeah. So how you do that is first I'll assign a class to my elements that I want to have hover effect. So I'll call this class hover text, and I'm going to assign it to my H1 paragraph and. So what I will do is first I'll color this, and the original color for it is blue violet. So the color text is blue violet. And then this is for when I hover over the text. So dot hover text color overall is for when like my mouse hovers over the text and walk over it. So this is the color that I set for it. It's gradient, but of course you can set it as whatever you want. And boom, I have my nice little color text. So what else? I want more. There's also animations in CSS if you didn't know. So the one means like look at this tilting and this boxy text. So let me show you the tilting text first. Step 1, add a class. So in this case, mine is called tilting text. And it's best it is related to animation. But how do I do it? So here's the CSS block. So same thing, I call the class by calling the tilting text. And transition relative is this rule that allows you to move your text around. And this is what allows the text to be animated. I'll come back to these later because we'll need keyframes now. So these are keyframes, and this allows animation to be possible in CSS. So it's the name of my animation. And 0 to 100% is what happens at the start towards the end of that animation. And depending on how smooth you want your animation to be, you can set like different changes at different percentages in order to transition more smoothly. And transform in this case, what I put in my picture allows you to rotate scale on. So we're rotating it as so in this case we're rotating it, so we use rotate. But there are a lot of other things that you can do to your text too, which I won't really cover today. So rotating the z-axis flips it sideways, rotating the x-axis flips it from the and rotating the y-axis flips it from both sides. It might not be very clear now, so I'll show you guys on more detail later. And now back to the CSS block. To be clear, keyframes should be put inside of the CSS file as well, just not inside of any of your selectors. It should be outside in a separate place, but it must be placed in your CSS file. So now, see this, you go back to the CSS block to your text. So, text. This is the name of our animation, and we'll put it in animation name. And animation duration is what it says. It's kind of like the duration of the animation. It's kind of like how fast or slow it goes. So let's say 0.5 seconds versus 2 seconds. So you can see 0.5 seconds and then you can see 2 seconds, and they look vastly different. As you can see, 0.5 seconds gives you a seizure, and 2 seconds is nicer to look at. So obviously I would choose 2 seconds. And animation iteration count is infinite. I've said it's infinite. And in this case, it's going to run till the key down of the universe or whatever. And now these are the 3 ways that you can move them. So to remember, y-axis reverse vertically. So if you rotate y, it will squeeze your text like that. And x-axis squeezes horizontally. So if you rotate x, your text will switch like that. And then z-axis flips, which is the top one. So now onto the bouncy text. So step 1 again, add a class. I'm my bouncy text, but call yours already. And here's the block. Same thing, I call it with dot bouncy text. And here are the keyframes. So 0, 50, and 100. Top is like the distance from the top. So from 0 to 100, right? Basically, what happens at 0 is that the image doesn't move yet. So it's distance from the top to 0 pixels. At 50%, the image moves 10 pixels from the top. So that the top will be 10 pixels. And then at 100%, we shift it back to 0 pixels. So the image moves back to its original position. So what this does is just make your image look like your text look like bouncy. So similarly, animation name, it's called bounce. So I put bounce there. And then animation duration is 0.5 seconds, and animation iteration count is infinite. And here's your bouncy text. So now you can have some time in order to add your text, in order to add animations to your site. And you've got no ideas. I guess you can make your headers bouncy, make your headers screen color on the cover, and if you're really a menace, You can make it by speed. So we'll give you guys a lot more time than this because we have a lot of results of the workshop. So feel free to ask for help or anything. Yeah.
So it's yeah, but the light doesn't tell me whether it's on.
It's yellow, so it's on.
Oh,
What do you mean?
God, I didn't know this.
So lines.
But it's interesting.
Excellent.
Oh.
Have you cooked in breakfast?
That's right. I came to tired.
I'll just pick you up.
I really hate
It's not the stuff I need to go pick on the guy who's doing the flat fence.
Because I asked the register.
No, I saw this.
No. Okay.
It's not my DJ. He told me that it's here. It's so bad.
Oh, yeah. I was just going about that insurance. If you don't, no, just.
Take a look at this.
Anime.js. And then should do this.
Yes. Yes. Why is it? Okay, whatever. I'm lagging. Yep. So like.
Yeah. Let's say I can't make it. Let's say I can't But that's not so good. You go there, right? No. I don't want to protest. That's fine. Why did he say?
It's a bag of chili
Drugs.
from Shivani that you can use, but I don't know why you use it. There will try something.
Yeah, we didn't have many questions for this
What's
anyway. Yeah. There's like a wait, I can have a segment for them to host their stuff because just now I didn't really. Oh yeah,
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
good.
I'll let them do that.
Hey, hi guys, here's Ezra. There are a lot more things that you can do with CSS, but like my time is limited, so I'm not gonna teach you guys. You can go and explore on your own in your own time. There's some other things you can do. So like, this is a site that I coded up. It's kind of small, but like basically, CSS has like endless possibilities. You can have this like funny little thing. You can see my cursor changes on cover, and then I have this cover effect. So there's audio in my site as well, but like it doesn't. Basically, you can do stuff like this. Yeah, and if you want to host your site, you can go to new cities and paste your code there, or you can explore hosting using Vercel pages, which is like I use this YouTube video to help me, or like GitHub pages if you came from the Git and GitHub workshop. I'll give you guys some time to like, I guess, try this out, and then after that is the end, I guess.
If you all need help with like hosting your site, then just raise your hand and ask as well.
I don't wait.
Oh, yeah, you just pack your shit. Okay, guys, thanks for coming. Workshop's over.